And welcome back. On June 5th, voters will decide on Proposition A. The ballot measure would stop the city of San Diego from requiring project labor agreements on construction projects. With me now is Pat Zaharopoulos with the San Diego Middle Class Taxpayers Association, who is opposed to Prop A. Welcome to the program today.
Thank you.
Some have said that passing Prop A would eliminate labor unions from getting a big chunk of the construction projects in the city of San Diego. If their bid is competitive, why wouldn't they still be in the race for some of these projects?
Under the present system, anyone can submit a bid, and it'll be about the same if the proposition passes. The problem with Prop A is that it is discriminatory. Consequently, the state will not give state funds to anything that discriminates, and the city budget analyst has estimated that that means that the city will lose $158,000 a year. Mm-hmm. The second problem is that it bans the city's ability to require use of local workers and veterans under the helmets to hard hats rule as part of their project.
Why would it require veterans from entering the workforce and getting these jobs as well?
The only way veterans get into the projects is through labor unions and the program hard hat helmets to hard hats. And if there is no project labor agreement, then there is no use of those people. There's no guarantee they'll be used. There's a possibility that they would be used.
Yeah. And you said it would, under Governor Brown, the law that Governor Brown signed, basically could potentially eliminate several $1 million in state funds that the city would get for these construction projects. With the state getting less and less money, wouldn't that be less likely that the state's going to, that kind of funding is going to be really a factor if Prop A passed?
Oh, the factor would always be there because the state, one of the ways we get money for the cities is through the state. Yeah. And the law that the governor passed allows drug testing and safety on the job and efficiency, in that you can't have a lockout or a strike. You go to a neutral arbitrator if there's a disagreement. And there's no discrimination against contractors or workers. They can be union or non-union. That's the state law that the governor has passed. Now, if there is discrimination, however, that it stops the funding from going to the cities. And we've already been told by our state controller and our state treasurer that if Prop A passes, San Diego will not qualify for those funds.
So basically you're saying on two different fronts: one, potentially discrimination; two, on the fact that state funds require union labor. So and those two areas could bring about a lawsuit against the city.
The state law does not require union labor.
Okay.
The state law does not require project labor agreements.
Okay.
It merely provides for the four things I mentioned: drug testing and safety, efficiency, no strikes and no lockouts, a neutral arbitrator, and no discrimination.
If that's the case, why would Governor Brown and obviously Democratic lawmakers be so opposed to a city a PLA ban of this sort? Why are they so opposed?
A ban of this sort takes away an option from the city. The city of San Diego, to be truthful with you, has never used a PLA in any project of the city. So this is sort of a solution with no problem.
Yeah.
In the second place, it has been found unconstitutional. The ban has been found unconstitutional in both Washington and Idaho.
And we said a minute ago that actually we're talking about two different things, because it's not really a ban. They can, labor unions can still bid on these projects. So they're not banning labor unions per se from bidding, right?
They're not banning from bidding. They're banning they're banning the project labor agreements.
Right.
And that ban is unconstitutional.
Okay. But again, back to a potential lawsuit. I'm still confused as to why the governor was so adamant about signing this law, and why he was saying, if you do this, you're going to lose state funds. What's the catch there that just really
Look,
infuriated him to the point that he said,
public,
do
public
this.
labor, project labor agreements are sort of like a conductor with an orchestra. What they do is they decide what trades are going to do what tasks and in what order.
Right.
So, like the conductor says, violins, trumpets. So in the same way, this can set up, the project labor agreement can set up when the carpets go in, when the painting is done, what order the electricians and the plumbers will work in, and that's just an option that the city will have if Prop A is defeated. If Prop A passes, it means that there cannot be any, and like I said, the city has never used them anyway. But the ban on them is discriminatory, and results in the losing of $158 million in funds.
Well, I guess
from
my
the
next
state.
question would be, isn't competitive bidding always a good thing?
It is always a good thing, and competitive bidding is present now and will continue.
Uh-huh. But there are those who would say that's not the case, that the unions win the contracts, basically. The majority of the contracts, if not all of the contracts.
It's interesting that in the contracts that use the project labor agreements, 60% of the labor is non-union.
Mm-hmm.
That's because unions are not allowed to discriminate between its members and non-members.
Mm-hmm.
So they hire in a non-discriminatory manner. There's nothing to prevent the unions from submitting from having public project labor agreements if the city desires it. If the city doesn't want it, then there's no project labor agreements. I don't think we need a ban.
Let me ask you this, and maybe you can clear this up for me. If you're a construction worker, and let's just say, as an example, a large construction company got a grant for a city project, and this particular construction worker said, I'm going to put an application to work for this company. Well, I have to join the union before I can work for this company to be a part of or to get that job through the city, through that city project, right?
No.
You don't?
Non-union employees
can
also be sent out from the union hall because the unions are not allowed to discriminate.
And was there a percentage you said on that of non-union employees?
It's my understanding that it's
projects?
about 60% on contracts that have labor agreements.
Mm-hmm.
And those have been private companies. The Disney Corporation, which is politically very conservative, for example,
Mm-hmm.
uses project labor agreements. So does Toyota, and so does Honda.
Mm-hmm.
The city has never used them.
Supporters of Prop A say it's going to lower the cost on city projects, construction projects. Obviously, you don't buy that.
No, the cost would be about the same whether there is or is not union membership, because obviously the union contractors have to be competitive, or they're not going to get the contract in the first place. And what the state law requires already is the drug testing and safety and the efficiency that I've already mentioned, and the lack of discrimination. So whether you're a union contractor or a non-union contractor, union employee or non-union employee, you cannot be discriminated against under state law.
Obviously, and that's a good thing, too, as well. All right, we're going to continue our discussion on Prop A in just a few minutes, and we'll have a roundtable discussion on this particular issue. Still ahead, we'll look at Prop A, what it means for our city. We'll be right back. Stay with us.